You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk and it's it. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion new single, my hater, the big better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million, the devil, that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 6th part of What If Deku Enters Total Drama Island. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of FIRM 78910 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. We find Chris at the dock of shame about to do the intro. Last time on Total Drama Island, yours truly was off making a swanky awards show. So Chef and Eri took over as hosts. But man was he brutal to the campers. Meanwhile Eri was being best unicorn, which was needed when Chef dumped the campers in the woods to fend for themselves. But he left them alone with scary dude Sasquatchanaqua. Cody ran for his life when he saw him. Speaking of him, he forgot to take back his GPS from Heather, who used it to its fullest extent. However, in the end, it was Owen and Cody who walked the dock of shame. Especially the former. At least he didn't eat Eri's apple cinnamon muffins. Chris said, as scenes from last week's episode showed. "Ah, Chris, the final 3. Daniel said. "Oh right. That in turn leaves the final 3 of Heather, Duncan and Izuku to our most exciting challenge yet," Chris said. "Don't believe me? Then I triple dog dare you to watch this episode of," Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. It was another day in Camp Wawanakwa where the final 3 are sleeping until Chris woke them up. "Campers, welcome to the semifinals. Today we rewards our challengers with an all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast," Chris said over the intercom. "Is he for real?" Duncan asked. "Owen would have loved this," Izuku said. "That's right, genuine food byproduct served with fresh ingredients relatively close to their expiration dates," Chris said as we see Chef flipping pancakes only for one of them to get stuck on a roof. Meanwhile, Eri is served with a small stack of pancakes made with almond flour, Hokkaido milk, samani chicken eggs, topped with grade A maple syrup, Bijenheim strawberries, Nordic wild blueberries and black diamond apple slices, along with a cup of ruby Roman grape juice. Confessional booth. Beep. "Holy shit, I can't believe it, I made it to the final 3, just goes to show you how far a badass attitude can get ya," Duncan said, whittling a piece of wood. "Whatever, I knew I'd make it to the end. Big shocker, I just can't believe the delinquent and the illegal hero wannabe made it," Heather said as she powders her nose. "I still can't believe that I made it. After so much I went through, facing my fears and getting Ochako as my girlfriend," Izuku said as closes his eyes. He takes a deep breath in then out before speaking again. "But I'm happy that this happened to me and Ochako. I know I might incur the wrath of the divine rat god Nezu, but I am so glad you lost that poker game," Izuku said with a smile. "I'll let this slide just this once, Midoriya-san," Nezu said. Beep. Camp lounge. The campers were enjoying the pancakes since this was the best meal he had made, at least for the campers, for they were jealous of Eri's plate. "So good," Eri said as she took another bite of her food. Confessional booth. Beep. "Would I've shared with Papa, but Chris said no. At least I can share with Grandma," Eri said. Inko was shocked at seeing the prices for all of the ingredients for Eri's pancakes and is left stunned. "Oh yeah, the money would be awesome. But making sure that bitch known as Heather loses, that would be even effing sweeter," Duncan said. "Luckily for me, Izuku and Duncan stand no chance. I mean, come on, they might as well give me the damn check already. We all know that I'm gonna win," Heather said. "Considering I'm facing against Heather and Duncan, I got my work cut out for me," Izuku said. "If I win, I'm buy Wawanakwa Island and turn it into my own racetrack where I can charge people and even more money. Of course after I pay my bail and burn the damn place down first," Duncan said with a grin. "When I win, I'm thinking of starting my own spin-off series called The World According to Heather," Heather said. "If I win, 2/3 of the money will be going to Eri's college fund, while the last part I will invest in," I'm hoping that Yaomomo will help me in that regard, Izuku said. In regards to drama, I've had enough. I mean, Super Dork is alright. Dolly Woman can kick ass. Eri deserves the world and Inko is okay. But 8 weeks with Heather. Yeah, no, throw me to the slammer and throw away the key, Duncan said. Beep. Sure, 8 weeks with these losers is cause for insanity, but in the end, it's all about the 5 million. At the very least, Interpol knows where to find Duncan, while Izuku multiple agencies want the contents of his notebooks, Heather said. Then she thinks about it for a minute. Actually, that last one might be true. Have you seen the one he has on me? It makes me scared, amazed and effing dumbfounded that I didn't know of it in the first place, Heather said. Beep. Well, now the question is, what should I invest in, Izuku said. Thankfully both boys have no strength. Duncan is just an asshole with shit breath and shit hair. Izuku is just naive hero wannabe, Heather said. Heather, I'm pretty sure her ego will be her downfall, and I'm counting on that, Duncan said. Beep. Auditorium. We find all 3 campers sitting down at a table waiting for Chris. Campers, welcome to the semifinals. My boss gave me an awesome idea to torture you 3. He simply asked the ousted campers for a way to torment you lot. Turns out they had a lot. Heck, even little Eri pitched in, and they are awesome. So thanks to them, we the sickest, most twisted, insane and possibly Geneva Convention breaking dares in TD's version of Spin the Bottle, Chris said as he presents the wheel with photo of the ousted campers. Chris smiled as speaks again. Starting with Izzy, Trent, Cody, Justin, Noah, Lashana, Lindsay, Beth, Tyler, Harold, DJ, Jeff, Ochako, Bridget, Owen, Courtney, Eva, Katie and Sadie, and the homeschooled formerly misogynistic country boy Ezekiel. Put them all together and you got a high-stakes game of I triple dog dare you, Chris said. The hell is this grade 5? Why don't we do 7 minutes in heaven in a skanky basement closet, Heather said. With you, no thanks, Duncan said. Ochako would kick my ass, Izuku said. Each player will take turns spinning the bottle. The camper you land on determines the dare you'll be doing. You can take the dare yourself and win yourself a get out of a dare freebie or inflict the dare on a fellow camper in hopes of booting them out, Chris said as he explains the rules. And if we refuse due to the dares? Heather asked. Oh, not a good option. Anyone who chickens out of dare will instantly eliminated, meaning it's straight to the dock of shame and the boat of losers. Do not go to bonfire, do not collect marshmallow, do not get the platinum award, and do not get the $5 million, Chris said, making the campers gasp. Confessional booth. Beep. Sudden death eliminations. Not bad, Duncan said. Okay, who ready to humiliate themselves first? Chris asked. The campers looked at one another for a moment until Izuku stands up. I'll go first, Chris, Izuku as he stands up and spins the bottle. Confessional booth. Beep. Okay, here's the deal, Daniel. Chef and I made a side bet. Whoever pukes first has to pony up $100 each to the other 2, Chris said. Beep. Okay, let's get this party started. Chris as the bottle stops at Justin's face. I wonder what Justin would pick, Izuku asked. All right then, Justin's dare is special. You have to turn into a female for 2 hours and get a full makeover. Oh damn, going strong, Chris said. Izuku's eyes went wide. Soon he closes them and takes a deep breath. Okay then, I'll do it, Izuku said. Kid, you could get one of the others to do it. No, all right then, intern if you please, Chris said as the intern fires the beam at Izuku. Sorry kid, but if you... the intern started to say until her jaw dropped, as did everyone else's. Because standing before them is a female version of Izukumidoriya. She has long curly green hair, a good figure, bountiful breasts, curvy hips and all she looked good. Well. Chris started to until they hear an echo. Oh no, she's hot, a familiar Kansai accented voice said. Ochako-chan? Izuku said, sounding adorable. Yeah, that chef if you'll please, Chris said as chef does the makeover. The results were well incredible. Izuku's hair is not in a ponytail, is now dressed in green dress that shows off her curves, wearing high heels, wearing light makeup and diamond earrings. Here's your freebie, Chris said. Meanwhile, in Isla de los Losers. Ah guys, I think Ochako's dead, Cody said as he sees Ochako, who is dying via nosebleed. Kearney rolled her eyes as she plugs up Ochako's nose and checks her pulse. No, she's still alive, Courtney said. Back at Total Drama Island. Okay Duncan, you're next, Chris said as Duncan spins the bottle. Soon the bottle landed on Noah. Alright, Noah's dare is as follows: fight my interns for a check. Oh, and the best you get keep. Also the reward is doubled if you don't use your quirk, Chris said. Hey, I've seen those guys, they're not so tough. I'll do it, Duncan said. A few minutes later. Damn you bastards, I swear to God this is fucked up, Duncan said as he fought off the interns. After a while Chris orders the interns to stop. This had better be good. $200 what the F McLean, Duncan shouted as he went back to his seat. Heather, you're up, Chris said as Heather spins the bottle. Soon the bottle landed on Beth. Huh, I wonder how the bad luck charm will do, Heather said. Drink a blended puree of Chef's mystery meat and fermented durian, Chris said as Chef does just that. Oh god damn it, Heather said. Chef gives her the cup and Heather drinks it. This made Chris almost puke. Almost. Confessional booth. Beep. This is going to be harder than I thought, Duncan said with wide eyes. Beep. Izumi, you're up, Chris said as he gave Heather her freebie. Up yours, Chris, Izuku said with a pout as she spun the bottle and it landed on Eva. Okay, your dare is read a chapter of Burning Passion of Smashes, Chris said. Izuku gave Chris a death glare worthy of all for one as she takes the dare. But before she could read it, a sonic boom was heard. Everyone turned to see All Might and Endeavor racing towards them. Upon getting to the stage, All Might takes the book from Izuku, tosses it into the sky, while Endeavor incinerates it. Upon seeing that the book was destroyed, the both of them nodded and glared at Chris. Hey, here, take 5 freebies, Chris said as he gives the freebies to Izuku. Confessional booth. Beep. I'm not surprised by this at all. All Might and Endeavor both read the book and despised it. They worked together to destroy every last copy of the book in existence, and if the rumors are true, they murdered the author. Though from what I understand, a genetic test showed that his ancestors were both Stephanie Meyer and L. James. Yeah, let that sink in, Izuku said as he shudders. Beep. All Might and Endeavor left the stage. Okay then, Duncan, you're up, Chris said as Duncan spun the bottle landing on DJ, but it flipped to a photo of Eri. The hell? Duncan said as he scratched his head. Oh shit, looks like you got an eerie dare. Like I said in the beginning, Eri gave some ideas to us as well. Eerie dares can happen at random and are worth 10 freebies, however, unlike normal dares, you can't pass them off to the other campers, meaning you have to do it, Chris said as he explained how the eerie dares worked. So what's the dare? Duncan said with a smirk. At the dare, Duncan was trying his damn hardest not to cry. The dare was simple: watch the movie Titanic without crying. Normally this would be easy since the modern take on Titanic sucked ass. However, this was not the quirked version of that movie, but rather it was the original 1997 version masterpiece. Thankfully for Duncan's sanity, the movie ended and he got his freebies. Confessional booth. Beep. Duncan was seen crying after watching that movie. F me sideways, Eri, that was cruel and I like it, Heather said as she wipes the tears off of her eyes. Beep. Okay, Heather, your turn, Chris said as Heather took her turn at the bottle, which landed on Ochako. Okay then, this one will require Izuku's and Eri's help. You must fight Izuku, Eri and Chef at full power, and you need to do it quirkless, Chris said as he releases Izuku's anti-quirk bracelet. Oh fuck me. Go easy on me, Heather said. Eri, let's kick Heather's ass together, Izuku said. Hi, Papa Mama, Eri said as she got on Izuku's back and activated rewind. United full cowling 1,000,000%, Izuku shouted as she pretty much went Super Saiyan 2. Oh shit, Heather said as the last thing she saw was father and daughter charging at her before going dark. A few minutes later. Well then, let's give Heather a few more minutes on life support. Now then, let's continue on with the semifinals, Chris said. What followed suit as the semifinalists doing various dares of degrees of intensity. such as Izuku walking on a tightrope with meat all over her body while the sharks tried to eat her. Duncan wearing baby clothes. Heather had to drink from the communal toilets with fruit drink mix, which caused Chris to puke, giving both Daniel and Chef $100. Confessional booth. Beep. Okay, what the F? That was so fucking gross, Chris said. Only for him to puke again. Is there nothing these fucking freaks won't do? Chris said. Is that even a question, Chris? Daniel said as he puked as well. Beep. 2 hours later. I can't believe no one's dropped out and Izuku has 30 freebies, Chris said. Izuku, who is now back to normal, blushed a bit. Duncan and Heather have squat. But not to worry, there is still plenty more where that came from, Chris said. Dude, we need to take down Heather, Duncan said. All right, take half of my freebies and we'll take them down, Izuku said. Good call, super dork, Duncan said. Chris, I'd like to give half of my freebies to Duncan, Izuku said. You sure? Chris asked. Izuku's response is splitting the freebies and give 15 to Duncan. What the F? Chris, that has to be against the rules, Heather said. Let me check. Nope, you're straight out of luck, Heather, Chris said. Heather looked at Duncan and Izuku. She only knew one thing. Ha ha ha, I'm in danger, Heather said, referencing an old meme. What soon was a session of torture for Heather, from going to a kiddie pool filled with leeches, to watching an extended version of Two Girls, One Cup, pecking the ground like a chicken, fighting a crocodile underwater, slapping herself, eating a live cockroach, kissing a stinky sock puppet, to being buried in pig shit, and hell, even Eri had a shot at Heather. That shot consisted of the Walk of Pain, where Heather has to cross a path with sharpened gravel, burning coals, and Lego pieces. Oh, fuck you, Eri. You may deserve the world, but that was fucked up, Heather said as sat back down. Izuku spun the bottle next, which landed on Lindsay. Oh no, Heather said. In any other universe, Heather would be nonchalant about this. This is usually due to Lindsay being dumb. But not this one. This Lindsay was born with an intelligence quirk, meaning she is screwed. Oh yes, and you won't like this one. Have your head shaved by Chef, Chris said. What the F? Heather shouted. Oh F yes, Lindsay, you effing rule, Duncan said with a grin. Heather's dare. Heather was now sitting in a barber's chair. So what's gonna be, Heather? Are you gonna do the dare, or will you chicken out and take the walk of shame? Chris said. Heather had a choice to make. It was either shave herself bald and keep playing, or give up and keep her hair. However, karma would chose for her as Heather the shaver, as it cut her hair into a mess. Heather touched her semi-bald head and realized that she didn't accept the dare, meaning she had lost. Ah, Heather shouted as everyone, even the losers at Isla de los Losers, heard it as well. Ooh, off them's the breaks. Heather, you lost and the boys win, Chris said as the boys cheered. Dock of shame. Heather was shouting at Chris, saying things like she would sue him and the like, but Chris ignored her. And then there were two. Tune in to see who will win the check for $5 million on, Chris said as he does the outro. Total Drama Island. It was a great morning in Camp Wawanakwa. It was actually very silent and peaceful, until Chris's voice broke it. Ah, morning in Muskoka. The birds are chirping. The loon is calling the majestic, gentle sounds of northern Ontario, Chris said as a loud fart was heard. Chris then pops up, wearing a party hat, wearing a shit-eating grin. Welcome to the most dramatic, thrilling episode yet, Chris said as he blew on a party horn he has. Oh, I am excited for this, boss, Daniel said. It's been a long 8 weeks at Camp Wawanakwa, and Total Drama Island is about to come to an end. Today 2 campers remain, and by sundown only one will be left standing. That camper will go home with a check for $5 million. Who will be? Chris said as it cuts to the final 2. Will it be the pro-hero wannabe Izuku or the bad boy delinquent Duncan? Chris said. Eri, who is wearing a party hat like Chris along with the others, yes, including All Might and Endeavor, stated. Papa is gonna win, Eri said as she blows on a party horn of her own. Well then, someone is confidant. So to the viewers out there, go grab a snack, have a piss if you have to. Go sit your ass down and get ready for The dramatic final conclusion of, Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. Welcome back. We asked our finalists to record their thoughts confessional booth before going to the final round. Chris said. Confessional booth. Beep. I honestly had a fun time. Sure, I could have gotten killed in some of the challenges, but I can say without a doubt that I had fun here. Izuku said as flashbacks from previous episode played out. What can I say about the 8 weeks I spent here? It sucked ass. Duncan said as flashbacks from previous episode played out. You think it's easy cooking for 22 ungrateful young adults and 2 teenagers. Man, I've had better jobs in prisons. Chef said with crossed arms. Then he remembers Owen liking the food. Well, okay, 21 ungrateful young adults, 2 teenagers, and 1 appreciative fat ass. Chef said. The food, well, it was okay, Izuku said. The food was effing ass. I mean, prison food tasted better than the shit we got at camp. Duncan said. The people, honestly, barring a few of them, I like them. Izuku said with a smile. The people here sucked ass. We got backstabbers, manipulators, know-it-alls, and the like on this island. Duncan said. Then he began to think. Well, the sane people I've met I can count with a single hand. Duncan said as it shows Izuku, Ochako, Lashana, Trent, and Courtney. Beep. A thing I'll be remembered for? I'd say my personality, I guess, Izuku said. The one thing I'll be remembered for my personality. Okay, that's it, I'm fucking done here. Duncan said as he leaves. Daniel is seen texting to Isara. Awesome, Daniel said. Daniel then notices the camera. Oh, we're still on whoops, Daniel said as he turns off the camera. Beep. Site of the final challenge. Now we find Chris and the final 2 along with 4 bleachers. 2 of the bleachers has 2 banners, one with Izuku's face and one with Duncan's face. Alright, now it's time to welcome the 22 campers who did not make it to the finals. Chris said as all of the 22 campers in their full quirked forms came to see them with Ochako hugging Izuku, which then proceeded to kiss her. Would everyone who walked the dock of shame and left camp on the boat of losers kindly take a seat on the peanut gallery of failure? The side you chose should represent who you want to cheer on in today's final competition, Chris said. Ochako reluctantly separated from Izuku and took her seat on the bleacher that had the Izuku banner. Once they were all seated, Izuku noticed that 2 bleachers are empty. Ah, Chris, and who will fill those seats? Izuku asked. But as he said that, a familiar voice spoke. I hope you don't mind that your friends came here to cheer you on, Tenya Ida said. Tenya? Izuku shouted. But it wasn't just him. Both Class 1A and 1B are here as well, along with 2 of their now ex-teachers, Midnight and Vlad King. I don't believe it, you're all here, Izuku said. Indeed, hold your thanks until later. 1A and 1B, please take your seats, Chris said. Izuku was happy that his friends were here, but then frowned when he said him. Bakugou saw Izuku, and they stared at one another. Midoriya, Katsuki said. Bakugou, Izuku said, not even looking at him. Normally this would piss Bakugou off, but he did nothing. The ex-hero students knew about them. The campers as well knew the broken friendship. Yes, that was tense. Though then again, after what we heard about the guy, Trent said, knowing what Bakugou had done. Lashana nodded as Ochako and Eri were glaring at him. Even Heather glared at him. Confessional booth. Beep. Huh, he definitely has the asshole look down, Heather said with a scowl on her face. I am so sorry, Midoriya Shonen, Toshinori said, head down in shame. Beep. Izuku, Duncan, it's now time to tell the peanut gallery of failure and the ex-hero students what you will do with the money if you won and why you deserve it, Chris said. Alright then, for me, it will be simple. I would spend a 100k on a party, then take 3.9 million and put it in a college fund for Eri. Ochako and I would take a vacation to Hawaii, and the rest I would invest it. Oh, that reminds me, hey Momo, would you help me on that last one? Izuku said. I would be happy to help with that, Izuku-san, Momo said as the other campers cheered. That's sweet, boring but sweet. So Duncan, how about you? Chris said. Simple, give half the cash to Eri, throw a party, pay my bail, and open an auto shop, Duncan said. The campers, ex-students, and ex-teachers cheered at the prospect of a party. "Either we'll have a hell of a party," Jeff said with a grin on his face. "Okay, simple enough. Now with our final challenge, the Triathlon of Triumph. Originally was gonna be relay race of reject Olympic Games, but my boss had other plans," Chris said with the grin. "Oh boy, something tells me this is not gonna go well," Gwen said. "In the first part of the tot, we have the Marathon of Endurance, where each of you has to take a flag from a greased-up pole, pass a balance beam while avoiding a gorge with freshwater man-eating sharks, and finally a distance race to the finish line," Chris said. "You're using the reject games as the first part of the challenge?" Chef asked. "Well, had the damn thing set up by the time the boss called me chef," Chris said. Chef just shrugged. "Next we have the exams of knowledge, where you have to solve a riddle, a math problem, and solve a puzzle box. However, the order in which you have to do it is randomized," Chris said. "Oh, come the F on, really," Noah shouted. "And last, and especially not least, the triad of strength, where you will throw a javelin at a bullseye, do a shot put, and finally an all-out fight," Chris said in glee. Duncan and Izuku looked at one another. "Regardless of what happens, I hope for a good match," Izuku said as he holds out his hand. "Me too, super dork," Duncan said as the both of them shake hands. "All right then, now then, let's hear some cheers," Chris said. Everyone did just that. "Okay, now on your mark, get set, and go," Chris said as Duncan and Izuku raced on. And soon the both were running until they reached the poles. With some quick thinking, Izuku took off his shirt and used it to wipe off the grease. Once he climbs up, he grabs his flag. Duncan does the same. At the peanut gallery. "Damn, that's hot," Pony said. "I know, right," Satsuna said with an eyebrow wiggle. "Must not kill them," Ochako said. Meanwhile, at the gorge, we find Chris and an intern standing where the balance beam was at. "Okay, new intern, I know it's weird you're starting on the last show, but all the other intern are either dead or at the hospital. All you need to do is to test this out to make sure it's moderately safe," Chris said. "Just make sure that any money I get goes to my family, all right, bro," the intern said as he walked on the balance beam, only to slip and fall to his death as he is eaten by the sharks. "Huh, damn, whelp looks safe enough to me," Chris said. At the peanut gallery. "Did we watch someone die just now?" Zero said. "How ironclad are Chris's contracts?" Tenya asked. "So much so that the only way you would win a lawsuit is as if Chris was stupid enough to show off the moment someone cheated," Monama said. With Chris felt a shiver down his spine. It was the same kind of shiver that he felt when he mentioned the fact that the campers wouldn't be staying at his beach house. The feeling of dodging a nuke he soon forgets about when he sees the final two. "Congratulations on the both of you. Take a 15-minute break, and when you're done we take on the exams of knowledge," Chris said as he leaves. Ochako, Iri, Tsu, Mina, Pony, Hitoshi, and Tenya join Izuku. "Izuku-kun, are you okay?" Ochako asked. "I'm fine, just a little winded," Izuku said. "Izuku-chan, good job out there," Tsuyu said. "Yeah, you're the best, Izuku," Pony said. "Papa, do you want water?" Iri said as she holds up a water bottle. Izuku nods and drinks the water. Duncan was supported by the friends he made and Courtney. Soon the 15 minutes are up and both campers were ready. As Chris said, each of them were randomized. For Izuku, he gets the math problem, the puzzle box, and the riddle. Duncan, on the other hand, gets the riddle, math problem, and puzzle box. "All right then, start," Chris said as the campers get started. "Okay, let's see what we got," Izuku said as he sees the math problem. It was some high school math. Honestly, it looked simple enough, so he solved it pretty fast. The next thing was the puzzle box. It was solved fairly quickly. As for the riddle, he was stumped. "What gets bigger the more you take away," Izuku said as he thought about his answer. Duncan, on the other hand, had just managed to beat the math problem. The riddle was simple enough. It was the human leg riddle. "Okay, now for the puzzle box," Duncan said. Time had passed and everyone was at the edge of their seats. Soon it was Izuku who solved his riddle. A hole, the answer is a hole. He gave the answers to Chris as he tells him he passes. Duncan follows suit as he follows Izuku. Alright you two, now it is time for the triad of strength. Izuku, Duncan to the javelin throw, Chris said as the campers nodded. We see several javelins and 2 targets. Now then, this is simple, you two have to hit the bullseyes to get to the next part. Understand? Chris said. Both boys nodded. Now then, throw, Chris said as they began throwing. The both of them began throwing javelins, some of them missed and others hit, but not hitting the center. Soon Duncan hits the bullseye. Oh fuck yes, Duncan said as Izuku hits his target. I got it, Izuku said. Now it's time for the shot put. Just toss the ball over the green line, Chris said. They nodded. Duncan tossed the ball and barely got over the line. Awesome, see you soon super dork, Duncan said. Izuku tossed the put and landed just before the line. Damn it, Izuku mumbled. Izuku did this a few more times until he landed the goal. Izuku did a fist pump as he rushed towards the final leg of the challenge. Now then, Izuku, Duncan, please stand on either side, Chris said as the final 2 faced one another. This one is simple. Last one standing wins, Chris said with grin as he pressed a button on his remote. This released the anti-quirk bracelets. Soon Izuku charged one for all as Duncan charged his plasma. Chris raised his arm. Ready, fight, Chris said as lowers his arm. This started the fight as Izuku charged at Duncan. But Duncan blasted him, but Izuku dodged it and punched Duncan but struck him again. Alright then, time for some weapons, Chris said as some non-lethal weapons appeared. Duncan took a baseball bat while Izuku took a bow staff. Huh, is this legal? Chef asked. Who cares, this is awesome TV, Chris said. The both of them used their quirks to empower their weapons, but the resulting clash caused them to break. They do this several times until they stop. Take this 20% Delaware smash, Izuku said as flicked his finger, knocking Duncan back. Eat this plasma flash wave, Duncan said as he fired a wave of plasma. Izuku dodged it. The fight lasted for a while until the both of them were at their last ropes. The both of them were exhausted and knew that they can only give one hit left. I'm doing this for VERYYYY, Izuku thought. Win or lose, I had a blast, Duncan thought with a smile. Let's do this, Izuku said as he charged his quirk. I couldn't agree more, Izuku, Duncan said as he concentrated all of his plasma on his fist. 30% Detriot Delaware, Izuku said as he charged at Duncan. Final plasma, Duncan said as he charged at Izuku. Smash. Fist. The 2 fists collided as a bright light blinded the other, campers, host, and everyone else. When the light died down and the dust settled, only one standing. And the winner of the Triathlon of Triumph is Izukumidoriya, Chris shouted as he announced the winner of the final challenge and of Total Drama Island. With the winner announced, the campers and ex-classmates ran towards the winner. Ochako ran up to him and locked lips. Eri cheered for her parents while Courtney went to check on Duncan. Are you all right, Duncan? Courtney asked. Oh, it sucks that I lost, but I don't that it's him, Duncan said as Courtney helped him up. Meanwhile, Izuku, Ochako, and Eri were lifted up. As the campers cheered for their winner, even Bakugou respected that Izuku had won. Later that night. Campfire site. Everyone was at the campfire site ready to get the hell off this island. There were ups and downs, but they made some memories on the island. Here we are at the last bonfire ever. After 8 brutal weeks, it's my pleasure to announce the winner of Total Drama Island, Izuku, Chris said. This made everyone cheer for Izuku. Izuku lifts up the check with a smile on his face. To think all of this started when you tricked our principal and future dean. I thought I would be eliminated on the first day, but now I have a hot girl, a lovely daughter, and a grand prize of $5 million, Izuku said. This led to more cheers. I'll end by say that the party is next week, Izuku said as the campers cheered again. You okay, Duncan? Courtney asked. I'm fine, I mean I came second out of 24th, I'd say that's pretty damn good, Duncan said with a grin. Izuku, at this time, I give you the ultimate symbol of survival, the final marshmallow, Chris said as he gives Izuku the marshmallow. I know how to make this even better, Izuku said as he takes out a chocolate bar and a box of graham crackers. Thanks to you, Chris, I can combine the graham crackers of disappointment, the chocolate of achievement, and the final marshmallow to create the ultimate s'more of victory, Izuku said as he presented treat. The cheers were deafening as Izuku eats the s'more. Hey Midori bro, you know what time it is, Ijiro said with a grin. Yeah bro, Jeff said. Chris looked around to see himself surrounded by the campers and ex-UA students. Oh shit, Chris said as he was picked up and was tossed into the lake. Oh come the F on dude, my hair, Chris said. Izuku and Ochako kissed to celebrate Izuku's victory. Heh, at least Chris got what he deserved, Heather said. Yeah, you still stink though, Gwen said. Quirks can give me back my hair, but not remove skunk stink, Heather said. Oh well, Gwen said with a shrug. Camper's quirks. Izukumidoriya. Quirk name, one for all. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description, transferred to him from Toshinori Yagi. Izuku's quirk allows him to stockpile an enormous amount of raw power, allowing him to significantly enhance all of his physical abilities to various boundless levels. This results in unbelievable levels of strength, speed, stamina, agility, and durability. When Izuku activates One for All, red, vein-like lines course throughout the empowered part of his body. Izuku can focus the stockpiled power into a single body part, or spread it across his entire body evenly, though focusing the power in a single part puts a greater strain on that part of his body. He is also able to control what percentage of his full power that he uses. Since he was not born with this power, his body was not naturally suited to handle it. However, over time and with continued training with it, his body has become more accustomed to bracing for the strain he is currently able to handle. Ochako Yororaka. Quirk name, Zero Gravity. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. Zero gravity allows the user to remove the effects of gravity from solid things upon touching them with the pads on their fingertips. The targets lose their gravitational pull the moment Ochako makes contact with them, effectively making them weightless. Through zero gravity, Ochako can make anything solid float in mid-air as long as they are within the weight limit of her quirk, which is around 3 tons. She is able to activate or cancel her quirk's effects by closing her fingers together. The more objects Ochako has under the influence of her quirk, the more she will struggle to keep them afloat. Continued strain and floating herself results in her feeling sick and nauseous, even to the point of vomiting. This can also happen when she uses the quirk on herself to float for too long. Heather Sunglahan. Quirk name, Red-backed Lamia. Quirk type, mutation. Quirk description. This mutation quirk allows Heather to use the aspects of the Black Widow spider and a Lamia. This is actually a combination quirk of Heather's mother's. She can spit venom, has sharp claws, larger breasts, and enhanced strength. However, she is weak to low temperatures and solutions meant to kill spiders. Herald. Quirk name, Taskmaster. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. This quirk allows Herald to replicate the physical skills, be it combat or athletic, of anyone he observes. This quirk shares many similar effects to Marvel's Taskmaster. However, it requires that Herald concentrate. Disrupt the concentration, and you destruct the quirk. Duncan. Quirk name, Plasmakinesis. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. Allows Duncan to create, shape, and manipulate plasma, a state of matter consisting of fully ionized gas of low density, containing an approximately equal number of positive ions and electrons. He can use it as beams, shields, and constructs. However, Duncan can power down due to overuse. Lindsay. Quirk name, Hyperintelligence. Quirk type, mutation. Quirk description. Grants Lindsay an intelligence on par with multiple quirkless geniuses. Oddly enough, she is immune to blows to her head. However, when the quirk is restricted by, say, a quirk restriction bracelet, she develops into a model example of a stereotypical dumb blonde. This effect is negated if the bracelet is removed. Cody Anderson. Quirk name, Wind Blast. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. Allows Cody to fire a blast of concentrated wind from his hands and feet. He can strengthen or release the amount of wind at a time. Overuse of this quirk can cause Cody to lose his breath far more often. DJ. Quirk name, Diagnostic Wings. Quirk type, mutant. Quirk description. DJs can detect a sick person within 7 meters around him. This can characterized by a single extending at a random direction. When the tips of both wings touches the sick person's head, it can tell DJ what illness or affliction they have, be it psychical or mental. Owen Waffle. Quirk name, fat conversion. Quirk type, emitter transformation. Quirk description, allows Owen to convert his fat cell into anything biological, but it's limited to his own body. Blood, hair, organs, and muscles. He can also go into a Giga Chad form, but only for an hour. Once an hour has passed, he will become emaciated. However, he can regain the fat fairly quickly. Izzy. Quirk name, fairy. Quirk type, transformation emitter. Quirk description, it allows Izzy to shrink down to the size of a hornet, gains a pair of wings to fly, and creates various types of powders. Itching, sleeping, paralyzing, and poison. Edit. Due to an incident involving the 3 other powders, she is no longer permitted to use them unless she becomes a licensed professional hero. Lashana. Quirk name, crystal creation. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description, with this quirk Lashana can create crystal constructs using her stamina as fuel. The bigger the crystal, the more stamina it uses. Jeff. Quirk name, stoner's breath. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description, when Jeff exhales, he releases a green-colored smoke with similar effects to burned cannabis. This will cause those caught in the smoke experience the same side effects when smoking cannabis. Note, due to the nature of Jeff's quirk, he is barred from traveling to any country where cannabis is illegal. Sadie. Quirk name, water manipulation. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description, allows Sadie to control water and manipulate it. She can turn it into various forms, such as hammers, claws, and tentacles. She can also control the pressure of how the water comes out. Sadie, however, cannot make her own water. She needs to obtain it from other sources. Lakes, ponds, pools, bathtub, ocean, etc. Note, it was discovered that Sadie can absorb the water within a human being, resulting in the demise of the absorbed victim. The first, and as of now only time she had used this aspect of her quirk, is when she was only 12, when she along with Katie were almost murdered. The would-be killers were killed, though not instantly. Beth. Quirk name, Queen Bee. Quirk type, mutant. Quirk description, this quirk give Beth the aspects of a honeybee queen. She can make honey, has a stinger, and can fly. Though when Beth reached maturity, she began laying egg and siring infertile daughters, both of then worker and solder class, who make it their duty to provide and protect their mother. She can still eat normal food but prefers flower nectar. Note, Beth's daughters only have 1/4 of the normal lifespan of a human being. It is theorized that if sperm is introduced into her, she will either get pregnant normally or sire a new queen bee. As of now, this is unknown. Note 2. Beth is not allowed to sell her honey. She can only gift the honey to others, as to not destabilize the economy. She does, how receives a portion of the profits for pollinating various plants. Ezekiel. Quirk name, Hobgoblin. Quirk type, transformation. Quirk description, allows Ezekiel to transform into a massive 10-foot beast-like creature of the same name. It gives Ezekiel enhanced sight, smell, hearing, strength, stamina, speed, and endurance. However, if used for too long, he will slowly shrink into a smaller form. Justin. Quirk name, Incubus. Quirk type, mutant. Quirk description, gives Justin the traits of an incubus. Horns, spiked tail, cloven hooves, and bat-like wings. He also possesses a glamour that can charm anything male, female, animal. Note, Justin claims that his natural beauty can charm anyone, even man-eating sharks. This, however, was ignored due to how ridiculous it sounded. Note, Justin's claim turns out to be legitimate due to the showing of the first episode of Total Drama Island when he seduced the man-eating sharks to take him ashore. Noah. Quirk name, Tactile Alchemy. Quirk type, Emitter. Quirk description, this quirk can transmutate the object it touches when all 5 fingers touch it at the same time, usually gold. However, Noah can only do one object at a time. Note, as it turns out, he can transmutate objects at quick speeds. Trent. Quirk name, Explosive Notes. Quirk type, Emitter. Quirk description, Trent can fire explosive musical notes of various sizes. However, he requires a musical instrument. For singing does not work. Depending on the instrument, it can have different explosive effects. Gwen. Quirk name, vampire. Quirk type, mutant. Quirk description. Grants Gwen the powers of a traditional vampire, enhance sight, smell, hearing, strength, stamina, speed, endurance. She also transforms into a bat, wolf, mist. Note: it is paramount that she receives blood lest she goes into a blood frenzy. Tyler. Quirk name, plastic. Quirk type, mutant emitter. Quirk description. Tyler's body is that of plastic-like substance. He can stretch his body to great lengths and change his form into multiple shapes, similar to Plastic Man. Courtney. Quirk name, Truth Ray. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. Allows Courtney to fire a beam, forcing the person hit by the beam to tell the truth. Eva. Quirk name, Shark Bite. Quirk type, mutant. Quirk description. This quirk gives Eva shark-like teeth and the power of a shark bite. Bridget. Quirk name, Blessing of the Sea. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. Allows Bridget to breathe underwater, enhance strength, stamina, speed, endurance, and to speak to sea creatures of any kind. However, this last part doesn't always work. Note: yes, we all know that Bridget is basically the Super Friends version of Aquaman. Katie. Quirk name, Mud Manipulation. Quirk type, emitter. Quirk description. With this quirk, Katie can control mud like Sadie. Katie can't make her own mud. Thus, it requires Sadie to be by her side. Firearm 78 out of 910, and with that done, bet anyone didn't expect the last one, huh? Alternate ending. Duncan wins. When the light died down and the dust settled, only one standing. And the winner of the Triathlon of Triumph is Duncan Rush, Chris shouted as he announced the winner of the final challenge and of Total Drama Island. The campers cheered as they rushed towards Duncan with Courtney kissing him. "You good super dork," Duncan said. Izuku, on the other hand, was surrounded by the UA students and teachers congratulating him, and Ochako was giving him a lap pillow. "I don't mind this," Izuku said with a smile as Iri giggled. We find ourselves back at Camp Wawanakwa, where we find Chris doing an intro. Hold up, isn't the show over? Welcome back to Total Drama Island. It's been a long time since you all saw our campers slugging it out for the $5 million grand prize. Since the competition came to a shocking and dramatic conclusion, our campers have had the time to snack on some real food back at Isla de los Losers, Chris said. With Chef. "Why do you feel like I want to hurt Chris?" Chef said before shrugging and going back to cooking. With Chris. Take a hot shower, get their stuff back, and even check their socials. "There were losers," Chris said as he dodged a toaster. Chris chuckled. "Okay, a lot of losers. But there was only one winner, Izuku. A pro-hero student Wanabe and a bit of a bone breaker turned out to be the surprise champ. He's planning a great party for the campers this winter. But first they're gonna move their asses for an awesome poolside rap party, and tomorrow everyone is gonna head home. Or are they? Find out here on," Chris said as he does the last part of the intro. Total Drama Island. Play intro. We find ourselves in Isla de los Losers, where everyone is celebrating the end of Total Drama Island. Owen, Izzy, and Lindsay were dancing. Tyler and Cody were playing frisbee. Katie and Sadie are with Justin while he showed off. As Izuku and Ochako, they were teaching Iri how to swim. The ex-UA students along with the ex-teachers were hanging out as well. Mina and Momo were lounging at that pool with Heather glaring at Momo, but the both of them ignored her. "Is this resort great or what?" Mina asked. "Oh, definitely, I would place this in my top 10 resorts," Momo said. Mina was about to speak again until she hears a loud burp that made a wave drove them to the other side of the pool. Even Iri was caught on the wave and is laughing and even smiling. Yes, Iri is indeed smiling. She was having so much fun here. "Oh my gosh, Iri is smiling," Izuku said as he started to cry. Their love," Ochako said with a smile as well. "Okay, I will admit this resort is to die for, and to think that Chef is actually good at cooking," Narumi said with a smile. Maybe Chef was only allowed to cook bad food for the campers during the competition, Sekijiro said as he sips on his Mai Tai. Ha, so true, Narumi said as she sees Owen, Izzy and Lindsay having fun. Then the moment was spoiled when she saw a familiar face. That face was Chris McCallan, who was carrying a suitcase. Hello, campers, Chris said with a smile. Ah, that's ex-campers to you, Duncan said. Yeah, your twisted game is over, remember? Heather said. Monoma couldn't help but shake his head. Oh, you sweet summer child, Monoma said as he drinks his soda. We'll see about that, Chris said as both he and Chef chuckled. Congratulations to our winner Izuku. You played hard, fought hard and muttered even harder. But in the end, you not only managed to kick the asses of 23 people, but you also got your possible bisexual girl to like you, Chris said with a grin. Confessional booth. Beep. Ooh, from what you heard Mina Ro, anyone really hasn't stopped the whole about me liking Izumi thing. Though you have to admit that a lot of the girls I know are sexy as hell. Mina's ass, Jiru's waist, Tsu's legs and Momo's boobs, Ochako said. With wide eyes, she looks at the camera. Oh God, I am bi, Ochako said. Beep. Attention ladies and germs, we got her, Mina said with a grin. Beep. Ah, thanks Chris, Izuku said with a blush. And very soon your pockets are gonna be stuffed with cheddar, Chris said as everyone cheered. Cheddar, Owen said. Oh, Owen, not that kind of cheddar, Lindsay said as she shakes her head with a smile. Yeah, it's the kind you use to buy real cheddar, Izzy said. However, my boss may have something to offer you, my dude. Whether you chose to do it or not, you're still keeping your 5 mil, Chris said. Izuku raised an eyebrow at that. Now then, in this suitcase is the grand prize of $10 million, Chris said. Just as the campers and students were to say something, they heard a rumbling. Oh yeah, we had our paws make this giant cardboard check of this awesome prize, Chris said as a giant cardboard check appeared before them. We went through a lot of cardboard to make this, Chris said. Tell me about it, Daniel said as he mumbled. Izuku, my mad lad. These 10 million could, or anyone's for that matter, and I'm also talking about your friends, classmates, and teachers, Chris said. Hold on, are you saying anyone can get the $10 million? Gwen said. Even us, Tetsu said, excited about winning money. What I want to is how you got my students to participate, Narumi said. Oh, that's simple, you all signed contracts, though I only got 38 of you, Chris said. This confused the ex-students and teachers until Setsuna's eyes widen. Oh, fuck me sideways, Setsuna said as she facepalms. Itsuka pinches the bridge of her nose. Oh god damn it, the one time Monoma is right, Itsuka said. Context please, Jiru said. Simple, Monoma said, and I quite. When dealing with Chris McCallan, always triple check your paperwork, Itsuka said. The immigration forms, Jiru said, realizing what she meant. Well, Denki said. So we have been tricked, Tokoyami said. That's fucked up, bro, Dark Shadow said. How the hell did we not see it, Narumi? Sekijiro said. No idea can, but it means the kids can do this, Narumi said. Hold on, who were the ones that Chris didn't get? Pony said. Well, Monoma for one, since he was the one who told us to triple check your paperwork, Mashiro said. Yeah, and the other is Bakugou, Denki said. Bakugou grunted as he nodded. Monoma did the same. Oh hell yeah, Mina said. Think of what can do with that money, Toru said as Ochako drooled at the sight of the money. Chris, how do I get the money? Izuku asked. Oh, that it's quite simple. All you have to do is to find the suitcase and bring it to the dock of shame on Wawanakwa Island, Chris said. I don't know, Izuku said, unsure about this as he starts to walk away. Chris just smiled and channeled his inner Bismarck, meaning he had a plan and McCallan always has a plan. Well, I just imagine how much good that money will do. Feed some homeless people, taking care of animals, making more investments, or increasing Aries' collage fund, Chris said as Izuku stopped dead on his tracks. Increasing Aries' collage fund, Izuku said. That's right, and from what I hear medical school is quite expensive. $15 million is beginning to awesome, Chris said. Izuku did what he did best, muttered. But soon he came to a decision. Okay, I'm going in, Chris, Izuku shouted as he accepted the challenge. Any who I'll giving you hints to make sure you don't get completely lost, Chris said as Izuku nods. That was effing low, Chris, using Eri like that, Ochako said. But Chris ignored her. Confessional booth. Beep. Okay, this just got interesting again, Courtney said with her arms crossed. Oh, it is on, Setsuna said with a grin. TCH, whatever, I'm only here since my folks think I might not get another chance to apologize to Deku. But I know for a fucking fact that he won't take it, Bakugou said. This just got a whole lot crazier, Daniel said. Beep. Isla de los Losers. Alright camper, the ultimate multi-millionaire challenge starts now, Chris said as he fires a gun and kills a seagull. Izuku rushes to the speedboats with Owen and Ochako right on his tail. Chris and Chef smile only to see the other campers and students stay where they are. Ah, you're not going? Chris asked. After torturing us for a whole fucking summer, you want to run around like fucking dumbasses? No thank you, Heather shouted. Well yeah, I mean it's over $10 million, Chris said. How do we know that you didn't stuff them with bricks or something? Lashana asked. Chef showed them a video of Chris stuffing the suitcase with money. Well, that answers that, Trent said. Well, I'd love to stay and play another round of Humiliate the Teens, but I got a buffet to eat, Noah said. Fine, but I'm sure that Izuku, Ochako, and Owen will love to have as little competition for the easiest $10 million in TV history, Chris said. Everyone was saying fine, thinking that would be fine, but then they hear Owen laughing his ass off as he claims that he would win and be rich. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, as their greed drove them to rush towards Camp Wawanakwa, only for them to fall in a pile. Chef whistles them to stop and Beth tries to tell the group about her idea of splitting the prize 24 ways. However, after she said it, oh wow, now that I said that out loud, I now realize that it was stupid. Okay, new plan, regardless of who gets the money, we give half to Eri, all right, Beth said. The campers and students agree as they go off their separate ways. Let's go get our $5 million, Courtney said as she kisses Duncan. Well damn, looks like someone found their mojo, Duncan said. Shut up and let's find that suitcase, Courtney said. Yes ma'am, Duncan said. Soon everyone went off their own way to find the suitcase. They looked everywhere while the intro song of the show played. 2 hours later, with Izuku and Ochako. Izuku and Ochako were looking for the suitcase thanks to Chris. They had gotten a 2-hour head start. Did you find anything, sweetie? Izuku said. Not yet, babe, Ochako said. Damn it, 2 hours in and nothing, Izuku said. Hey guys, Mina said. Oh Mina, you're here to help us? Ochako asked. Yeah, we are, Mina said. Hold up, we? Ochako asked, wondering who the other person is. She means us, Uraraka-san, Narumi said. Yeah, I'm here too, Pony said. Midnight Sensei, Pony-san, Ochako said. Call me Narumi since I'm not your teacher nor a pro hero anymore due to the RPA, Narumi said. That would explain the lack of Aizawa-sensei, Izuku said. Then the loudspeaker turned on. Okay, this is fucking pathetic, campers. It's been 2 hours now and no one has even come close to finding the suitcase, Chris said. Sure enough, Narumi checked her phone and it had been 2 hours. Well damn, Narumi said. So here's your first clue. It's just hanging around, Chris said. Hanging around, Izuku said as he thought about the clue. Maybe the suitcase is hanging from a tree, Pony suggested. The group nodded as they all looked up. With Ezekiel. Ezekiel was with Beth and Lindsay along with 2 of those illegal hero students, the Vine girl and the rich girl. They were talking about dresses when he notices a small shadow. What the hell, Ezekiel said as he looked up, finding the suitcase. Hey girls, Ezekiel said, but was ignored. He tried calling them, but again he was ignored. Ezekiel was getting mad so much so that he activated his quirk, Hobgoblin. Now fully transformed, he unleashed a loud roar. Roarer. This time he got their attention. Ezekiel, what the hell? Beth exclaimed. Ezekiel said nothing as he pointed upwards. The girls looked up with wide eyes, saw that the suitcase was on a tree. I don't know why, but I feel very stupid right now, Beth said. You and me both, Beth, Lindsay said. Ezekiel got the suitcase down and opened it to reveal the money. He closes the suitcase. Attention campers, Ezekiel has the case. I repeat, Ezekiel has the case, Chris said. Oh hell, girls climb on, Ezekiel said as the girls got on Ezekiel's back as he ran for it. As they ran, they hear the footsteps of the other campers and students. With Heather. Heather was not having a good day ever since Chris offered the $10 million. She had once again began running around the island like an idiot. Well, money is money, and she, like everyone else, needs it. Right now she spots the smartass, the bee queen, 2 illegal heroes in training, and that dumbass Ezekiel in his quirked form. With the suitcase in hand? Unbelievable that dumbass has the case, Heather said. She used her webs on the suitcase, pulled it towards her. What the hell, Ezekiel said as he sees Heather holding the suitcase. Tough luck, dumbass, see you at the docks, Heather said. Oh, that bitch. After her, Ezekiel said. He chases her. They chased Heather until she jumps into a hot balloon as it flew away. But then a javelin made of blood popped the balloon, causing it to fall, and a long tongue took the suitcase. Later, beach, Tsuyu said as she hopped off. I'm gonna swallow that froggy slut whole when I get my hands on her, Heather said. With Tsuyu. Tsu actually managed to get to the cliff where the first episode happened. Okay, I just need to reach the dock and I go home with 5 million, Tsuyu said. Tsu, stay away from the cliff, Ochako said. No, this 5 million is mine, Tsuyu said as she holds the case close. Hold on, 5 million, Izuku said, knowing that there was double that amount in the case. We made a deal with Beth that regardless of who won, Eri would get half, Tsuyu said. The group shrugged as Mina and Pony confirmed it to be legitimate. But still, please step away from the cliff, please, Narumi said. Tsuyu was about to do that when Heather appeared and screamed. Give my money, you frog-faced slut, Heather shouted as she tackles the group down to the water. Enough, Mina dodges that tackle. As they fell into the lake, Tsu saw the dock, wanted to swim towards it, but Ochako held on to her. Ochako, your boyfriend already has money, mooch off of him. I'm already giving half to his kid, Tsuyu said. No, you dumbass, did you forget of the psychotic man-eating sharks that live in this lake, Ochako exclaimed. Tsu's eyes went wide as she saw several fins race towards her. In a panic, Tsu grabbed her friends, her sensei, Heather, and the suitcase. As they managed to get to the beach soon, though, they hear another group consisting of Gwen, Trent, Lashana, Courtney, Duncan, Izzy, Owen, and DJ rushing towards them. I see the docks, let's go, Izuku said. With other warning, they rushed towards with the second group right behind them. Soon they had almost reached the dock of shame. But then something happened. Some unexpected happened. Monoma was there on the dock of shame, sipping on a drink. He began to speak, though it lacked the mocking tone everyone was used to. It's a shame one of my classmates has to suffer for your greed, Midoriya, Monoma said as he shakes his head. Izuku was confused as Monoma raises his leg. But now you and the innocents you have dragged along the way must suffer the consequences of both your greed and your actions, Monoma said. Izuku saw what Monoma was about to do and was gonna in another direction, but it was too late. Izuku tripped on Monoma's leg, causing him to drop the suitcase. As it landed on the lake, the suitcase was eaten by a shark. A seagull was laughing at them, only for the seagull to get eaten as well. Disbelief shook them as they saw the $10 million were gone. Monoma wisely left before Chris arrived. Oh, for FS sake, now what? Ochako shouted. SSS Suu, you lost the case, way to go, Chris said with an annoyed tone. Gee, you think, Gwen said. I didn't want to have to do this, but since none of the 14 of you officially won, you all officially tied, Chris said. But then Chris's frown went upside down. Which mean you'll have another shot at winning the $10 million, Chris said. The competitors cheered, save for Izuku, now realizing what Monoma meant. Oh no, Izuku said, knowing what it meant. In Season 2, Chris said. I knew it, Izuku said. Confessional booth. Beep. Did he say season 2? Lashana said. Uh-huh. No effing way I'm coming back, Heather said with crossed arms. Well shit, this is not good, Suyu said. F you Chris, F you too, shit I'm pretty hell would give him a cushy position, Ochako said. Now I see why Monoma wanted us to triple check the paperwork, Pony said. Beep. Doc of shame. Oh hell no I didn't, fine print, Duncan said knowing to be the case. Yup. Read it, live it and effing love it, Chris said. I fucking hate the fine print, Ochako and Gwen said at the same time. As for the rest of campers and others, your treasure hunt is over. But don't worry, you'll be watching it all from the sidelines, Chris said. As everyone got up, Chris began to speak. In exactly 2 weeks, you will all report to a brand new location for a whole new challenge, and the last one standing will receive $10 million, so don't tune into, Chris said as he says the new intro for the new show. Total drama action. I'm sorry, Ochako, Izuku said. Hey Izuku, it's okay you didn't, and I should have known better. Ma and Pa always tell to read the fine print, Ochako said. Oh well, at least I kept my original prize, Izuku said. Yeah, at least there's that, Suyu said. Wonderful, I bet Nezu planed this, Narumi said. Later that night, Doc of shame. It was late at night and everyone was in bed except for 3 people. Monoma, Koda, and Ere. All right, Koda, call the shark, Monoma said. Excuse me, I'm looking for the shark at 8 the case, Koda asked. The shark came out and said if he was okay. The shark that his stomach hurt and asked him to take the suitcase out of him. They do just that and the shark thanks them and left. All right then, I did my part, now do yours, Koda said. Monoma nods as he takes out 2 empty duffel bag and gives one to Koda. He checks the suitcase and smiles. Okay then, 1.5 million for me, 1.5 million for you and 7 million for Iri, Monoma said as he stuffs his money in his duffel bag. Koda wondered why he called Izuku greedy. Koda was about speak before Monoma spoke for him. This is how Makalan gets the extra seasons for his shows. I'm pretty sure that this Survivor knockoff would have been a one and done deal had it not been for Izuku. The best way to win in Chris's games is to not play at all. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, Monoma said as he leaves. Koda sighs. I guess that's fair, Koda said as he and Eri follow to the rest of the group. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more such stories and adaptations. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Firearm 78910 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.